You was doing 3 days ago in Houston. What is you blowing up and saying all these inaccuracies for to these people? You always doing that. You always doing No, it ain't accurate. No, it's not actually accurate. You said to me that when we were married, I was going to hotels cheating on you. That's a goddamn lie.
I didn't say you wanted to.
Yes, you did.
I didn't say that you was.
Yes, you did.
There's
and
a
you
possibility.
said it multiple times.
There's a possibility, because like me.
Well, we know you were cheating.
It's okay. Okay. I'm sorry for that.
No, you're not. No, you're not. Not sorry.
I knew
they
was going to destroy what we had. All this. It wouldn't have been like it is.
What began as a private discussion behind closed doors suddenly became a full-fledged public outcry, and believe me, no one anticipated this. In the most unexpected way, Melody's mother, who has always avoided trouble, broke her silence. She's not just speaking up, she's calling people out, and Nell Fluchter, whose name keeps cropping up for all the wrong reasons, is at the center of this dispute. It's obvious that Melody's mother has a serious problem with her, but what exactly is the driving force behind her now taking the spotlight after all this time? We must look back in time to understand how we got here, because this feud didn't start today. What precisely did Nell do to provoke such a heated reaction? Is it just a personal grudge, or is there something much more going on behind the scenes?
Y'all, at midnight, Melody Cherie Rogers released her statement stating that she would no longer be on Love and Marriage Huntsville. After 9 seasons of sharing her life with us, she has decided to part ways with the show.
After months or even years of accumulated tension, Melody's departure wasn't just a haphazard choice, it was a turning point. Behind the scenes, things weren't as picture-perfect as they appeared. There were arguments, disagreements, and silent battles that only a select few were aware of. Melody had been under pressure from her family, her job, and those who wanted to control her next move. She eventually had to make a decision, and leaving seemed to be the only way to regain her authority. But not everyone, especially Nell Fluchter, was ready to accept her departure. Nell wasn't merely a spectator in this case, she had a strategy, and a significant portion of it involved bringing Melody back. There were private meetings, conversations, and other calculated actions, but the question wasn't. Melody's mother was not merely another player in this situation, she was the key, and if anyone had the power to influence Melody's decision, it was her and Nell. It wasn't just about whether Melody would return, but how to make it happen. Was it about maintaining peace, or was there something more going on behind Nell's insistence? After all, when someone fights this hard for someone's return, there's usually an agenda. Understood that, which is why so many behind-the-scenes attempts were made to get her into the conversation. However, nobody anticipated that Melody's mother would not comply. She saw through it and wasn't going to allow anyone to take advantage of the situation. This is where things took a turn, as what began as a straightforward conversation swiftly became something much more significant when Nell sat down. It appeared to be a simple conversation with Melody's mother, but if you dig deeper, you'll see that there was much more going on. Nell wasn't just trying to be heart-to-heart. There was a plan behind every word. Did she really want Melody back? Or was she more worried about the larger picture, whether it was about controlling the conversation or influencing ratings? That was unavoidable, but Melody's mother wasn't buying it. She had been observing events for too long to be duped by empty words. She recognized the patterns, strategies, and subtle ways that people attempted to distort the truth. For this reason, she resisted. She wasn't going to allow Nell to control the situation. She made it plain that Melody's return couldn't be coerced or controlled. Then came the unspoken dangers. The ones that didn't need to be spoken out were recollections of previous failed promises, hints of power plays, and the indisputable fact that Melody needed the show more than the program needed Melody. These days, the focus was on control leverage, who would win, and when it appeared like everything was falling apart, rather than just personal feelings, would remain in the background. Nobody anticipated that Melody's mother would make a public statement. In fact, she had remained silent during the entire drama, allowing events to play out without intervention. However, something changed. Perhaps it was the way Melody was treated, or perhaps it was what she witnessed taking place behind closed doors. Either way, she decided enough was enough and came forward with an explosive declaration. What exactly did she say? That shocked everyone. She didn't hold back. She exposed the power struggles, manipulation, and the way Melody had been forced into an impossible situation. She also made it clear that some people weren't merely attempting to bring Melody back, they were also attempting to control her. The biggest shock was when she called out Nell Fluchter by name, which was a game changer for most people. She targeted Nell instead of the producers or the network, which led many to wonder why she did so. Was it because Nell had the most control over the situation, or was there something more serious going on? Whatever the reason, it sent a message that was impossible to ignore, and the fans had plenty to say. Some fans backed Melody's mother, saying she was. Others weren't so sure, wondering if she was making matters worse by speaking out publicly rather than handling it behind the scenes. Some even conjectured that this might hurt Melody more than help her, making it even more difficult for her to return on her own terms. Nevertheless, the conversation was no longer private. She was just doing what any parent would do, standing up for her daughter against the pressure and manipulation. Everyone was watching the drama unfold, but things became stranger since not everyone wanted Melody to return, and some individuals made sure she wouldn't.
Wrap for Melody Cherie Rogers on Love and Marriage Huntsville. She's officially announced that she will not be returning to the reality TV series. Look, there have been a lot of signs that Melody was done with OWN, that she was done with Carlos, because she unfollowed him. She's said some things on social media, and most recently, she revealed some things about her issues with the show and how it's being produced. And someone, a producer on her show, basically wanted to be her TV manager, and when she said no, she felt as if there was...
While Nell was advocating for her comeback, other cast members and even producers were quietly opposing it since they had other ideas they didn't want to implement. For whatever reason, they wanted to make sure Melody stayed out permanently. Perhaps they viewed her as a threat, or perhaps they simply didn't want things to change to prevent her return. But as talks were heating up, a surprise occurred. A private communication was leaked. This wasn't just any message, though. It revealed what was actually happening in the background. It exposed covert talks, hidden objectives, and the fact that some people were actively working to thwart Melody's return. But all of a sudden it wasn't. It wasn't simply a question of whether Melody wanted to go back. It was about who was preventing her from doing so. And let's not forget the cast members who stood to lose the most from Melody's absence. Chances for others to step up, secure more screen time, and strengthen their positions if she returned, as several of them had centered their plots around her rather than being there, and the possibility of her return threatened everything they had accomplished. So it was evident that this was a bigger issue than anyone else. Was the opposition coming from the producers, the actors, or both? Realized, and then, in typical Melody form, she changed the course of events since she had certain requirements if they wanted her back. Of her own?
What's up, Instagram? Listen, really quickly, a lot of y'all been inboxing me. Some of you have been texting me, asking me what is going on, what is up with this video that Martell Holt has decided to post today. I really don't know. I have no idea where his mind is, why the hell he done took it to social media at that. However, since he keeps saying he got some stuff to get off his chest and he got to put the truth out and all of that, then I'm going to get some stuff off my chest too. Like, it's not going to be no one-sided anything, ever. So, I'm waiting just like y'all. And I'm waiting to hear what his truth is, so that way I can go ahead and put my truth out as well. You know what I'm saying? And my truth gonna be the truth. So I'm waiting like you guys. I don't know what he's thinking. Kind of disappointed, to be honest, because I thought we had gotten past the whole going to social media thing, but it's all good. But y'all can stop inboxing me because I don't know. I'm waiting too.
This wasn't going to be a straightforward comeback where she slipped back into her previous position. Instead, Melody saw an opening and seized it. She realized she had leverage and that if they wanted her back, they would have to give in to her demands and trust that she wasn't just petty favors. She wanted creative influence, a voice in how her tale was handled, and most crucially, an end to the false narratives that had trailed her for years. She was demanding genuine power, so what did she want? First, she refused to be just another cast member, intended to make her the antagonist and eliminate any surprise production trickery. If they were to bring her back, it would be on her terms, but the most important requirement was that one important individual go. Although Melody refrained from openly naming names, she made it apparent behind the scenes that someone on the show was obstructing her path back, and she was unwilling to cooperate with them. This was not negotiable. Either they were gone or she wasn't returning, and that's where the true shock factor came in. The rumors instantly began to circulate. Was it a producer, a cast member, or someone who had intentionally undermined her in the past? Because let's face it, the industry dislikes people who demand too much power, and there were undoubtedly people who didn't want her back in the first place by putting her under these conditions. She is playing this perfectly, positioning herself for a strong comeback. Or is she making herself an even bigger target? This was never just about Melody. It turns out that someone else had been pulling the strings the entire time while Melody and Nell were back and forth, and just when it seemed like we had all the answers, a new twist changed everything. She was either securing her future or sealing her fate. There was another force behind the scenes that was manipulating the pandemonium while the mother was making public pronouncements and the cast members were picking sides. The million-dollar question is, who was the true puppet master? Perhaps it was a network executive or a high-level producer with a personal purpose, playing both sides, or perhaps someone close to Melody had been influencing the situation from the start. In any case, they made a final move that destroyed all of Melody's leverage. A last-minute betrayal altered everything. A promise was broken, a deal was made, and just like that, Melody was left with an option: strike back or permanently go.
I want to do it. I want to do it. You know,
I'm ready.
right. And then, you know, the good thing about it, I was thinking with you guys having 7 days on and 7 days off, the 7 days that you have them, I can make sure I'm here in Huntsville in case you need me. And the 7 days off, I can do whatever I want to do, you know.
Go where you want to go, yeah.
And who knows, maybe him and I would get to a place where if he needs me to keep the kids, I would be willing to do that
Because that's
for
what
him.
used to happen in the past.
Yeah.
Sometimes he would call you and ask you about watching them, whether that was because we were going to go out of town, or you know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah.
So hopefully, you know, we'll get to that place where, you know, he could call me and I could say, oh yeah, I'll keep him this week for you, or a couple of days if you got to go out of town and do something.
Now that the battle lines have been formed and the drama is still ongoing, the show's future is in jeopardy. The only thing that matters now is Melody's next course of action. Does she accept the terms of the agreement, return on someone else's terms, or expose? Then there is Nell, whose reputation is officially on the line. Has this crisis damaged her influence, or does she still have another trick up her sleeve? Everything burns bridges, and she leaves totally because there may not be any middle ground at this time. Since Nell isn't the kind to give up easily, and believe me, this is just the beginning, what do you think? Did Melody's mother make the correct decision, or did she just make everything worse? Leave a comment with your ideas.